So yeah, after a while, I felt I needed to get my teeth into a big project, and I had the opportunity to take part in a project called Threads of Time, which was organized by the Hertfordshire Archives and Local Studies, which hold lots of old documents. And the documents I was looking at was alchemy, astrology, and medicine from the 1640s. And the project, so this meant there was a group of about 30 artists, and every month we went to Hartford to have meetings and look in the old documents. And for me, it was important to have something which was solely focused, very concentrated on this project. And I decided to make an alchemical curiosity cabinet. The whole thing, in a way, had nothing to do with my grieving about Kiyama, but whilst I was working on it, and because there were many different technical things I had to learn and skills like metalwork, meant that through being busy, creatively busy, there appeared space in me in which I made some realizations. Like I realized that it is very important when you grieve to be in the present, in the now, and soon when you think of the past and what has been, then all the emotions started to well up again, and it's very difficult to deal with it, and you can't change it because it has happened. Same as thinking in the future of what if, makes it equally, emotionally difficult. But when we're in the present moment and working in there, it's easier to deal with things. The other thing, the whole thing of alchemy, is mysterious as it sounds. In the past, people were looking for eternal life, the philosopher's stone, and making in a more materialistic way, making from lead gold. But I see it more as a symbolic way, the search for eternal life. And in a way that the realization came that although Kiyama um, disappeared as an physical human being, her spirit and what she gave to me personally as a mother, and seeing her growing up, and the way how she was as a person, really, that hasn't disappeared. That spirit she will live on. So my starting point was this, for this project, was this book. This is like a storage box in the shape, in form of a book, which I got very cheap in a shop. And I was immediately drawn to it because of the Eiffel Tower and the bicycle. Before, in a few months before Kiyama died, she was preparing a big bicycle trip from London to Paris, with her fellow students after graduation. That was the plan, and we found evidence that she was preparing that in her room. Lots of notes she had made, and a big map was out. So after the life celebration, and after we had received her ashes and giving away lots of ashes in those little pots, some of her friends decided to still have that trip. So they cycled, about 12 of them cycled from London to Paris with a little scatter tube of her ashes, climbed the Eiffel Tower and scattered them off. And yeah, so that for me was an important underlying thing. So uh, this then turned into a box, which you will see in a minute, and I gathered all kinds of little bottles, little vintage bottles, This is a little perfume bottle which I got when I started going out with my husband in the beginning, and that seemed to fit in it. This is a little kaleidoscope type of prism, and some gold leaf, and there were an old key. So all kinds of little things I wanted to put in. And this was a little book which we found, which was Kiyama was given this as an Advent angel, something they did in the Steiner school when it was Advent, and they gave each other a secret present. So you didn't know who gave it to you. And she obviously treasured it a lot because she took it with her to when she moved out the house to university. So there were lots of little phrases in there which I thought this was interesting, but I didn't want to use the book as it is. So everything had to be transformed or alchemized, as you would say. So this is how the book on the outside appeared. So I did make lots of little patches of copper sheeting, which I treated with heat to get different colors out, and different things like vinegar, so little chemical processes. And then I embossed all the symbols in it. I have a love for symbols, so universal symbols, of my own personal symbols. And those symbols are all related to alchemy and astrology. This symbol, for example, you will recognize that, the Venus symbol. So this is used in astrology as the planet Venus, and in alchemy it's used as the symbol for copper. And in a more universal sense, it's the symbol of love, and which underlies my love of doing this work, and yeah, my love for Kiyama. So this how I changed little things. So that little booklet from Kiyama, that got a different outside, with a leather type of thing with symbols on it, and I colored the pages in between in the inside, but you can't see that here. And I made this little book with some stitch. I had to have some stitch in it because textiles and stitch is my primary, not my, yeah, my primary, my love to work with. But as you see, I do also mixed media work. So these are little bottles, and they all contain, this is some gold leaf in it, some real silver. Only mercury is very poisonous, so I couldn't put mercury in here. So I put some nail varnish in it, which might look a bit like mercury, not really, but. So that's are the bottles. Traditionally the alchemists would try to make from lead gold, but you can also say from in a more esoteric way, it's the changing from being an ordinary, ignorant human being to realizing who you truly are, which is the gold. So this is how the box looked from the inside. So I've covered it all with the documents of photographs of the documents which I studied in the library, the archives. So these are the 1640 documents, and it was all treated or photocopied and then treated with walnut ink to make it look old. And this is a little wall hanging with something I found in an alchemical illustrations. And this is my little inner sanctuary, my presenting. So it's a little cabinet within the cabinet, and presenting things to do with my meditation. Because for me, without meditation and my art, it's both meditation and art which helped me through the difficult time of the grieving. And the meditation which I practiced since 1983 has really has helped me as well to learn to be in the present moment and not get swayed so much by the emotions. That's not to say that I don't have the emotions, but it's a little bit more easier to handle through the meditation. So, and then this is a final project I did in relation to Kiyama, and that was another challenge with the Argentina artist Sarah Lechner, and we were going to make a little shrine. And for me, it was an opportunity to to create something colorful and happy, but also, as you can see on this, it has a little story to tell. Just a few weeks before Kiyama got ill and died, she phoned me and asked, "Mom, have you ever catch the bird and let it go?" I said, "Well, no." But I had an uncle who kept pigeons, and I had an boss in one of my jobs who kept pigeons. So when I saw them catching the pigeons and, letting them go up in the air, so I knew that, but I'd never done it myself. I said, why do you want to know? She said, well, I'm doing an art project, a competition, and someone is going to film me in how to get a pigeon and let it go. And it was such, after she had died, it was such an extraordinary story. It's almost like as if she knew that that something had to be let go, and for her it was her life. And in her drawing diary, there were all kinds of drawings of birds, letting go in from a bicycle, and birds going up, and it was quite extraordinary. So when I made this shrine, I realized also that I was keeping her very close, almost like I was keeping her in my cage of my sorrow and my, not wanting really inside, letting go of her. And it was almost like when that story came back to my mind, like she was giving me a key, Mom, you need to let me go, and and move on, create art, but move on, and not put all your art in relation to me. So that was the story of the shrine, and it's hanging in our diner in a corner next to some other mementos and her photograph. So, and then in 2017, I received an email from someone saying, Katrina, someone is organizing the Art of Grieving exhibition. And because of your work, we thought you would be interested to take part. So I was given an email. So it's a lady called Kate Ray, and she worked then for a bereavement. She was a trustee of bereavement counseling. Bereavement Matters was the charity called, and she was organizing this big exhibition and invited people who had lost somebody and who expressed their grief through art to do this first ever exhibition. And it was in this beautiful, as you can see, middle-aged barn, and it was hired over a weekend. Yeah, it was an extraordinary experience, because all the work which was there was a variation of painting, sculpture, textiles, mixed media, all kinds of different artists took part, and I had some incredible moving work was there. People expressing their grief, their anger, their sadness. But it was an extraordinary thing to then speak with people, and all having the experience of grieving and how it helped them to, like for me, to express the grieving through art in an almost in a more therapeutic way than counseling did for many. You know, the keep talking about it is not always a good thing for everybody. So then I made friends with the lady who organized it, and we kept in touch. And then in 2019, we had another Art of Grieving exhibition, which was this one. And I was offered my own little solo exhibition. So the whole slideshow you just have seen is all printed out, and it's here, hangs here. And then lots of other works here as well. And this is Kiama's bucket list, which was created by the university on her posthumous graduation show. And what else what I wanted to say about this? Oh yeah, as a consequence of this, I was then invited to give a talk for bereavement counselors, and I was also invited for the charity to give a series of workshops with people who were bereft, and to make little series of workshops to make momentums in the form of memory boxes where people could keep their little mementos in from their loved one. So before I finish, I do have a look at what I talked earlier about the Natural Death Center, which is an extraordinary charity with a wealth of information on anything you would like to know about DIY funerals, but also how the funeral, how the rules are. And this is predominantly UK, but I think there is a lot of information there which is helpful for people outside the UK as well. So do have a look at that link. And then I didn't mention it before, but I don't know if people have heard of the Death Cafe. It sounds very morbid, but it's not. Started in 2011, so a year before Kiama died. And I went to several death cafes in London, and they basically you go to, it was in someone's house where there was coffee and tea and cake, and lots of people turned up from all walks of life, from all different religions and non-religious, who had lost somebody and felt they wanted to talk about it, and about death, and about maybe the worries of death, or what to do in terms of bills and things. And it was just to have a conversation about death and dying. We all die at some point in our life, but very, very few of us are prepared for it. And one of the things of preparing is talking about it, openly talk about it, because that makes you, when when you really embrace that one day you will go, you will celebrate your life much more. And for me, Kiama was, she only had 22 years, but she celebrated her life every minute. And so yeah, I went to several death cafes, and they're now worldwide. It is a massive movement. And do have a look on the website. I've been host of a couple death cafes myself, and I would be very happy to organize an online death cafe, as there are now many online because of the COVID-19, and more people are thinking about an imminent death. So it's important to have conversations. Doesn't bring any solutions. It's not, there is no agenda at a death cafe. It's just people coming together and talk about anything to do with death and dying, bereavement, but it's no counseling or there is no set program. Anyway, do have a look at that link. And yeah, I just hope you find this inspirational and not too emotional. And for me, it's yeah, the creating things visually, art, creative, any form of practicing art is a way of going inside, reflecting, and coming to terms with things and expressing your emotions, you know, in an positive and life affirming way. So thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you well. Take care.